Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the TCT podcast here on YouTube. My name is Gavin Campbell. Alongside me, as always, my two good friends, Tyson Snyder, Cale Fleming. Today on the rundown, we got some Illinois college basketball as well as football, and then we're going to finish up touching on the Chicago Bears preseason opener at the Hall of Fame game last night against the Baltimore Ravens. Cale, go ahead and take it away.
All right, guys. So first, Illini men's basketball, they have released the out-of-conference schedules. Finally, we're getting there. It's almost Illini men's basketball time, boys. I'm getting excited. Game one, we've got the Evansville Aces at home. Hopefully, these three games that we're going to play against these smaller schools. Evansville, obviously, is in the Valley. They put up some decent numbers against, guys like Southern. They gave Loyola last year a run for their money. So that's saying something because Loyola they made it to the Final Four. So
I think they even traded games with ISU. They went 1-1 against ISU.
Yeah, and
who placed second in the Valley last year.
And Loyola did beat ISU in the Valley tournament, right? Correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So ISU is obviously not a bad team as well for being a mid-major. So ISU's putting together a pretty decent sports program with their football team. But anyway. Evansville obviously should be a decent opener. Get these guys, like Io, Georgie B, all the new recruits, Tevion, Allen Griffin, Feliz, all of them get used to Underwood's system and realize how fast-paced that Brad Underwood's really going to play. Last year I saw it. Tyson, you saw it. How fast Underwood wants to run that floor. He's a 3-and-D type of guy, coach. So. You can't really argue with that. I like the pace that Underwood likes to run. The only thing I don't care for is that he doesn't like to run a traditional big man. That's just me. But moving on to game two, this one here, I feel like it's going to be a difference maker for our season. It's not really saying much because it's just Georgetown on the 13th at the State Farm Center again. But Georgetown, like Tyson said, I'm going to let you talk about it a little bit. They make some decent tournament runs. They're kind of a sleeper. You don't really realize them. They do pick up some good basketball players, some good recruits. So how do you feel like Georgetown will affect our season?
Well, Georgetown's always sneaky good. They're never really in the top 10 or the top 15, but they usually float in the top 20s. Sometimes they'll slip out of it. Sometimes they'll jump up and hit top 5. But they're always sneaky good, but not for very long. But they do make decent tournament runs. So Georgetown could prove to be a very viable opponent early in the season, especially coming off of Evansville. That's a good tune-up game. Get them going against some slightly less talented guys. Get them warmed up, get them high, and then go into Georgetown to see how it kind of translates over to a little bit bigger game, more intense. But I don't think Georgetown will be a turning point. I don't think that's going to tell us how the rest of the season is going to play out. It could tell us how to play out against big opponents, top of the Big Ten, some of the other off-season or out-of-conference teams, even if we make some kind of tournament appearance, NIT, hopefully the NCAA tournament, but even an NIT tournament, Georgetown could tell us how that might play out as well against some of the higher-tier opponents. But Georgetown's always sneaky good. So we'll have to see how it comes to fruition here, but I wouldn't put too much on that game. Personally, I'm expecting a loss, but it's early in the season. Nobody's too hot yet. They haven't had a chance to get going, Georgetown, that is. And we might just come out with some fire saying, hey, let's go out here and beat this good team. So I think it's a good game to have at the beginning of the season.
Absolutely. Excuse me. That first game against Evansville, if we blow them out by 40 points, which is more than likely, 30, 40-point blowout, we go into that second game against Georgetown, and they're really high on themselves. One of two things is going to happen. Either we're going to get smacked in the mouth, or we're actually going to beat a decent opponent. So that's usually how it goes, especially when you have a lot of young players on your roster. One thing that I do like that Cale, I know he said he's not too high on Coach Underwood running with a non-traditional big man, is that's more of an NBA system kind of thing, and I'm an NBA guy. So when I see that, and when I see NBA teams try stuff that was in the college level and they bring that up, and when college coaches take NBA stuff and they bring it to the college level, I'm really into that kind of thing because it's out of the norm. It's really interesting to try to see how they piece that together with the guys that they have on their roster. But as far as Georgetown goes, yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Tyson. I don't think that we're going to come out with a W in that one, but I think it's likely, depending on how the Underwood can keep his players' attitudes in check after the first game, and they could come out 2-0 and going into the third game of the season, which is definitely going to be more of a struggle, and Cale's got more on that.
Going into the third game of the season, we're going down to Hawaii. We got the Maui Gym, Maui Invitational. It's a lot of Mauis in there. But we got Gonzaga, round one of that Invitational. The thing with Gonzaga is I've read a lot on them so far this season because, as most of you guys know, I'm a big college basketball guy, especially with the University of Illinois. But Gonzaga is rated to be one of the top 10 teams in the nation, if not top 10, top 5. Rightfully so. Gonzaga's a good team. They always put together phenomenal
Elite Eight every year.
Every year. Phenomenal basketball teams. Phenomenal basketball school. Gonzaga, though, I'm kind of nervous about playing them round one. Yeah, Georgetown's a good test, but they're not Gonzaga level. So going down to Hawaii, playing Gonzaga round one, which there are teams such as Arizona, Iowa State, Auburn, Duke, San Diego State, and Xavier. So there's a lot of good teams in there, including Duke, mainly. Besides Duke and Gonzaga, those are the two that are probably going to run away with it, if not Iowa State, because Iowa State's not bad at basketball anymore either. You know, these smaller mid-major schools are putting together good rosters. But
the Cyclones have always had on and off seasons. You know, they come in, they've made the tournament before, they've made the NIT multiple times. I mean, I think right now they're a better program than Illinois has been, especially the past 5 years. But
believe it or not, do you know who built that Iowa State program?
I do not.
Fred Hoiberg.
Of course he did.
He built that program, so maybe he should have stayed.
Yeah, he probably should have.
But so I don't know, Gavin. With Gonzaga being a top 10 team, obviously they're more likely going to be a top 10 team. How do you think these young guys, these young talent, and, you know, Frazier's going to have to put these guys on his back, you know, and lead them to a victory over Gonzaga, which is going to be tough. It's going to be real tough. How do you think they're going to fare out?
Oh yeah, they're definitely they're climbing it uphill right now, or they will be after that Georgetown game. If they can put together a good run against Georgetown, even come out with a win, it's all going to depend on how, you know, you move on from one game to the next. You know, I've coached rec league before. I've done it for the past 4 years, and that's how you have to look at it from a coaching standpoint. So if I'm Coach Underwood, however my guys perform, I want to keep their confidence level high. That's what you want in young guys, especially, you know, guys like Frazier and Io and all these other guys coming in. You want to keep their confidence level at a high, so when you come in against a superior talented team, you still have a chance, because there's a guy that I always like to go to in the NBA, J.R. Smith. Okay, that guy, he's hot and cold, but his confidence level's at an all-time high, and he'll chuck up 20 shots, and if he only makes 2 of them, well, he made 2 of them. But sometimes he can go 12 for 15, you know. So it really all depends on your state of mind. And if you can have that J.R. Smith mentality, if you can have that, you know, Kobe Bryant mentality of I can make every shot that I put up, not necessarily at the college level because it's a team game more than anything. If you can get your teammates involved, but most importantly, keep your confidence level up, I think that they'll be okay. Now, even though I think that they'll probably 90% sure come out with a loss on this one, if they can keep it close, and I know we talked about this before we started, if they can keep it close, you know, around 6, 8, 9 points, I think that'll be great for them moving forward, knowing that they came that close to beating a, you know, possibly even top 5 team this year. I know that they lost some guys in the draft, but this is definitely it'll be one of the biggest challenges this Illinois team will face all year.
So Tyson, real quick, I'm going off of that. Gavin, he said something in there that's pretty key. I listened to the interview with Brad Underwood a couple weeks ago, right after the summer game, or summer workouts have concluded, which was, a couple weeks ago. It was actually Monday. With the confidence level, I'm going to talk about your guy real quick with Kipper and Trent. Underwood said in that interview that he hasn't had to do much leadership, which is what you want out of your coach. You want your veterans, you know, to take the leadership role to where your head coach just makes.
He tells you what to do.
Exactly. So with that being said, how do you feel that Kipper and Frazier are going to, you know, what are they going to have to do? What mountains are they going to have to climb to beat Gonzaga?
Well, I think Gavin touched on it with the confidence levels. That's not Coach Underwood's job. His job is to put people in the right positions to make plays. But if they're in those right positions and they're not confident that they can make those right plays, that falls on to Frazier and Kipper. It's going to be their job, their responsibility to keep those guys kind of riding the high, get them up when they're down. Especially with these young guys, they're our age and younger, so we know exactly what it's like to play with guys this age group, kind of this generation. It's very easy for a lot of these guys to get down and out quickly. It's going to be a big part for Frazier and Kipper to come in here and say, hey, keep shooting, or hey, we still need you on defense. Hey, come on, we got to do this. You're still in it. Don't worry about it. Bad shot, whatever. They're going to play a big role, especially in these early couple games. Because I have a feeling a lot of these guys, they will do whatever it takes to win, but it's very easy to get discouraged in a game, especially at this level. So it's going to be very key for these two leaders to come out here and take that out of Brad Underwood's hands. That's not his job. He doesn't need to do that. It's going to be very key for them to come out here and kind of start showing out that they can be leaders, and that they have that ability to get the guys back up when they're down, and kind of show them what it's about.
I think that's a good segue into what I wanted to say. I wanted to mention the players buying into the system. If these two guys in Frazier and Nichols can get everyone else on the roster on board with, buying into, okay, hey, if you miss a shot, hey, if you miss an assignment, hey, you cough the ball up on that possession, forget it. We're moving on. Don't dwell so much on what just happened. Look to what you can do better. Remember what you can fix, and just move forward in the game. And I think that's something that sticks in the minds of a lot of players, especially young guys. Is, okay, well, I just messed up, and then they focus on not doing that again so much that it takes away from the rest of their game. And if they're able to just buy into the system and go with the flow, I think that along with the confidence, that could push Illinois a lot farther this year than a lot of people think that they're capable of being.
I'm glad you said that, just for one reason only. The fact that you said young guys. These are all young guys that are used to winning. You got Io, 2 state titles. Griffin, 2 state titles. All of these guys have winning mentalities. So if they go in, Gavin, how do you think if they lose to Georgetown right off the bat, if they lose to Gonzaga, who's arguably one of the best teams in the nation, how do you think that for these young guys that are used to winning with a winning mentality, if they have the winning mentality that everybody says they do, how do you feel that this is going to affect their confidence level?
Well, I know that my coach has always told me that it's a lot easier to win than it is to lose. So if these guys have been winning their entire careers, like you said, and there's a lot of guys on this roster that have done very well in our own state of Illinois, and this is a pretty big basketball town. I mean, when you have Chicago and other suburbs surrounding and parks up there, the competition's real.
We arguably have the best basketball state in the country with Chicago, besides maybe who? New York?
Right, yeah, exactly. New York, California,
Florida.
Those three, and then there's Illinois. So we're definitely top 3, top 4, no doubt. But getting back to your question, for me, I think it's a little bit... It's kind of hard to answer that question, because when you're a winner, you're so used to it that you think sometimes that you can come in and just perform at the level that you've been performing at your life, But when you come into a program that has been mediocre for the past couple years, past 3 or 4 years, you have to kind of realize what you're getting yourself into. It's like, yes, I'm used to winning, but you have to look at the Big Ten as a top 3 conference, top 2 conference, and understand the talent that you're going up against every single night. Yes, these are out of conference games, but like you said, we're going to be playing teams like Georgetown, as well as Gonzaga. Even teams in the ACC that are in the top tier of the ACC are still viable opponents. They're not the Big Ten, but they're still pretty good teams to go up against and test your abilities. So I think if there's one thing that I would tell my players is after a loss, don't dwell on it so much. Just think of what you can do differently next time to stop yourself from making those same mistakes that you did. Sometimes you have to realize that you are just inferior to your competition, and you have to figure out ways and their weaknesses that you can attack. There's never a time that you can just lay down and accept defeat. There's always things that you can think of, either right before the game, during the game, halftime. There's always adjustments that can be made, even when there's only a couple minutes left. If you're down by 20, if you're still in the game, you have time to improve. And I think that as long as they see every game as an opportunity to get better, their attitude should stay afloat, and it shouldn't be an issue. But that's going to be up to the individual themselves, and we'll have to see if they're able to do that this year.
Yeah, it's very hard, like you said, Gavin. It's a lot easier to win than lose. That's a big adjustment. Coming up through Little League football, we went undefeated twice. We won 2 of 6 titles. And then when I got to high school, it was a smack in the mouth. It's not the same game. We lost all but 1 game my freshman year. We won 2 games my sophomore year. We won 4 games my junior year before we finally got to the playoffs my senior year. It was a smack in the face. It's very hard to lose coming from a winning culture. You think you got it all right, and then it just doesn't work that way. It's very hard to lose. So we're just going to have to see how these guys kind of play out. But these guys have come from bigger winning culture. That's a small example from a small town, whatever. These guys come from big schools with big winning mentalities. They've won lots and lots of games in their careers. This goes back to Frazier and Kipper really need to step up. But they're going to have to get used to losing. You're not going to come out in the college game against great teams and automatically perform. It just doesn't translate like that. One thing I did want to say, though, last year we performed relatively well at the Maui tournament. What did we get? 4th, 3rd?
Yeah, I think we were 4th,
yeah.
I believe.
So that being said, we do play a little bit well down there in Hawaii. Zaga's a little bit closer than we are. It gives them a little bit of an edge. Travel time, a little bit less jet lag. But we play well in Maui, so I'm excited to see how this game with Zaga turns out. I'm not going to give us a 90% loss chance, but pretty high. Zaga's a really great team. But as long as Frazier and Kipper can keep the guys in it, I think we've got a chance.
All right, guys. Gavin, you touched on it. We're going to move on here to the ACC Big Ten tournament. It happens every year. It's one of my favorite tournaments in college basketball. Basically, because obviously I'm biased, but I think the Big Ten is the best basketball conference in the country, minus a few schools like Duke and Kentucky. But a conference as a general, I feel like we're the best. So, round 1 of the ACC Big Ten tournament, we've got Notre Dame in South Bend. Notre Dame, I mean, I'm not really that concerned about it. Are they Gonzaga level? Hell no. They're not that good. But they are decent. There's no denying that. They do have them at home. We have Notre Dame at Notre Dame in South Bend. So that's an issue a little bit. But at the same time, I'm not that concerned about it. I feel like Illinois is going to roll out of there with a W out of South Bend. I just feel like we can beat them. Kev?
Well, you would think that we would be able to, but it's never easy playing Notre Dame at Notre Dame because they have fans everywhere. Not just in Notre Dame. You got them here in Illinois. You've got them in Montana, Utah, New York, Maine, Virginia. They're everywhere. So it's always tough to play Notre Dame at their stadium. But like Cale said, I would expect a win here. They're I wouldn't say in the top 3 in the ACC teams, but they're definitely in the top half, which would be a good test here coming off that probably. I hate to say that we're going to lose against Gonzaga, but I mean, I'm just expecting a loss because these guys are so young, and I think that losing that game will help them moving forward. So I think this will be a good bounce back game for them. ACC team, like Cale said, we always perform well against the ACC. So we'll probably come out with a win. This will be a good bounce back game for them. I don't really know much about Notre Dame other than about 2 or 3 years ago. They were pretty solid in the tournament. Those guys are gone, obviously. I'm not too fond of keeping up with ACC teams, so I couldn't tell you who else is on the roster, but I definitely expect Illinois to come out with a win.
Yeah, last year I think the ACC only won like 2 of 20 games.
Yes.
So generally the Big Ten performs very well in this clash between the two conferences. That being said, I think that gives Illinois a bump up over Notre Dame. Notre Dame's usually one of those teams, they perform really well. Not well enough to win their conference or make it to the tournament every year, but they always get close. So Notre Dame's another one of those good teams. This will be a good win, a good bounce back from Gonzaga. But yeah, I'm excited for this game in Indiana. That's going to be something. If there is one downfall to this matchup, I think that's it. Having to play at Notre Dame, like Gavin said, they got fans everywhere, and there's a lot of them, and they're loud.
They let you know it. Let you know it.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm excited for this game. I think this will be a key win early in the season. Help get them going for the rest of the year.
Game 2, which will be December 8th. Man, we're getting into this late in the year, and you believe that's already August, boys. But anyway, UNLV at home. I'm doing nothing but expecting a win. UNLV, they're decent. They could make a tournament run if they wanted to, but they're small. I just feel like Illinois is going to squeak past that one. If they have a blowout besides Evansville later in the year after they get some games under their belt, I feel like it's going to be UNLV. And if it's not going to be UNLV on the 15th, they got East Tennessee State. If anybody knows what town that's in, let me know because I got no idea other than it must be in Eastern Tennessee.
Johnsonville, Tennessee.
All right. All right.
It's the random fact that I know.
There we go.
But getting back to your question here, yeah, definitely expect to win. UNLV, I actually had a guy that I went to high school with down there right now. Only reason I know where that school is at. But no, definitely expecting a win here. I don't want to say that they're a bottom feeder, but compared to the Big Ten, these guys have no idea what competition is. And maybe they do within their own conference, but like Cale said, Big Ten's top either the best or top 2, top 3 conference in basketball and football for that matter. But no, definitely expecting nothing less than a win here. This will be a good maybe game to kind of get some string going here, string some games together. This could be the start of that for the UNLV.
So, Eastern Tennessee, obviously, we're not going to spend too much time on that because that's going to be a W. Now, although I can't really say that because last season we kind of got upset by none other than Eastern Illinois University, which shouldn't have happened. But anyway, we're not going to talk about that.
They got spanked, too.
Yeah, they did. That was not good. The bragging rights game. Tyson, this is a big one for me and you because I don't know about you, but I can't stand the state of Missouri. State of misery for one reason only. Not only do they have the St. Louis Cardinals, but they got Mizzou. We won a bragging rights game last season. A lot of people said we shouldn't, but they also didn't have Porter Jr.
Right.
Tillman didn't show up, and but they also didn't have Mark Smith either. Mark Smith's kind of returning home because he's from Edwardsville, as most of you know, Illinois Mr. Basketball formerly. Didn't perform at the U of I the way everybody wanted him to. He had too high expectations. He just couldn't conform to the pressure. So therefore, he's back home. He's in Mizzou. He's about 15 minutes from his hometown in Edwardsville.
They can go back and play for the SEC for all I care. If he wants lesser competition, by all means, go ahead and find it.
He couldn't handle it. He couldn't hack it up here. It's pretty simple. He was overhyped. I kind of feel bad for the guy because he had so much pressure on him, he just couldn't handle it. But hopefully, I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to knock him too hard. I wish him the best.
Oh yeah,
at Mizzou. I know you do as well.
Yeah, let me just say I didn't mean that disrespectfully, but
yeah,
I mean
sure.
you find it so disappointing when a guy that comes to the Big Ten, you're expecting him to perform at a level that he obviously couldn't get to. Being Illinois Mr. Basketball, that's a big title to have, and especially when you play for the University of Illinois.
Yeah.
You want that guy to be top tier, and he just didn't live up to that. So hey, you want to go play lesser competition to help yourself out? There's nothing wrong with that. Just whatever makes you comfortable.
So going off of that for this season, Illinois should beat these guys. They don't have Porter Jr. obviously anymore, but it didn't matter because they didn't have him last year when we played him, Tyson.
Right.
So we're going into St. Louis like we always do. What do you think? Thinking a W? Thinking a loss?
Well, I'm hoping Mark Smith plays well all year, except for this game. I hope we just smack the piss out of him. Hey, I'm very disappointed with how he performed at Illinois. I really hope he doesn't continue that performance through his stint with Missouri. I wouldn't be surprised if he still didn't perform. I think he had his expectations, and I think his confidence dropped to like an all-time low after this last season, after he realized he didn't perform how he was supposed to. He might have lost a little bit of that confidence, a little bit of that swag. So I think we've got a good shot. They don't have Porter Jr. again, so nothing's really changed. They got Mark Smith to replace Porter Jr.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not really too worried about it. We won it last year. I think we'll win it again this year. Keep the bragging rights. So.
Yeah, I mean that's all I got. I mean Mizzou, it's Mizzou. We don't like them.
We hate them.
Yeah. So definitely. I mean, if anything, I'm expecting a win. Back to back. Let's go ahead and keep that trophy in Illinois.
For sure. So I'm going to move on to something real quick. Guys, ESPN came out with the sorry if I could speak English. Basketball Power Index a couple days ago. Tyson, I'm pretty shocked by this. We're 21st. I'm not shocked by that. That's the highest we've been in a long time. Since the Joseph Bertrand days, honestly. So we're 21st in BPI. We're in the top 50. Thank God. We finally broke top 50 in something.
Not only did they break the top 50, but they blew past the top 50.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. 20th in offense, 34th in defense. I'm hung up on that 34th in defense. We have these athletes like Io, like Tevion, like Alan Griffin, Samba Kane, if he gets here. We'll talk about that.
Let's not forget De La Rosa.
And De La Rosa. Yeah. All of these guys that can move their feet. They're long. They've got hops. They could jump out of the roof if they wanted to. And they're strong. So 34th in defense, Tyson, that to me, that's kind of a slap in the face, to be real honest. I feel like we're way better than 34th. 20th in offense, I'm not really disagreeing with that. That's amazing. Top 25. But I feel like we should be a top 25 with our defense as well. What do you think?
If anything, I see these reversed almost. There's a lot of good offenses out there, but there's not really a whole lot of good defenses. There's definitely some. But 34th, yeah, it's kind of a slap. Last year, in every game, we had more steals than turnovers, almost every game. We're always taking the ball away, getting blocks, making them take bad shots. There's not really a whole lot of teams that just score crazy amounts on us. If anything, I can see these reversed. 20th in defense, 34th in offense. Now, I think both of these are a little bit high, especially because we don't know how all these freshmen are going to perform, considering we've only got 3 guys returning, and the rest are freshmen, new guys. So I think is a little bit high, but based on the recruiting talent that we got, that's what the Basketball Power Index goes off of. It evaluates all talent, and it puts a big emphasis on 5-star recruits. We got a little bump just because we do have so much incoming new talent with a high ceiling. I think both of these are inflated a little bit, but I think they're good numbers. They're pretty accurate. If that 21 in the BPI turns into anything, then we're a top 25 team. We can put together a good string of wins, some really good wins against decent teams. So I'm excited about this BPI rating. Hopefully that will translate into the regular season. We'll see it against some of those top-tier teams, especially hopefully we'll see it in the Big Ten and win more than 2 Big Ten games this year.
Yeah, if they have us ranked that high, we go back to when we talked about this, a month ago, right? And we were talking about, well, how good can this team be with all of these freshmen, with all of these young guys, not a lot of veteran leadership other than, 3 guys on this roster.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at this, and now that ESPN's come out with these rankings, it's like, well, I mean, could we possibly win 23, 24, 25 games? I mean, is it out of the realm of possibilities? I probably being biased here, I would say that it might be. I think we'll win closer to 20, but
that's what I've got it at.
20. I don't see why we wouldn't be able to win 22, 23 games, maybe make a push for the tournament. If we can finish in the top 6 or 7 in the Big Ten overall, I like I said, I think it's a possibility. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. But if everything comes together, I think this is looking at we're looking at a pot, and it's stirring right now. And if that brew comes together and if the finished product is looking like a 23, 24 win team, they could be dangerous later in the season. Come December, come January, I think that we could be looking at a team that not a lot of people expected, but the potential is absolutely there.
For sure. When you said we're going to possibly win 20 to 25 games, I agree with you on 20. I'm going to say we're going to squeak 2 more that we shouldn't. I'm going to say 22. I feel like Illinois is way too doubted. They're not. There's a lot of haters out there for us.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think. Everybody says Illinois is the crapper of the Big Ten. Well, go figure. We have been the last few 4 or 5 seasons. That's undoubted.
I would say there's them, and then there's Rutgers.
Right, for sure. But what I'm saying is that that Illinois is undoubtedly one of the better teams in the Big Ten, and I'm going to go ahead and say that. There is no reasons why we cannot compete with Wisconsin, who's not near as good as they have been in the last 10, 12 years or when we were kids.
Well, see, and there's the thing. The common college basketball fan would hear that statement, and they'd freak out.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
said there's no way Illinois can beat Wisconsin, but you're absolutely right. When you look at Wisconsin and all the guys that they've produced, they're gone now. They're not. Their recruitment classes they have not been up to par with what they used to be in the past, 5-10 years.
It's not the team they had with Frank Kaminsky and Sam Decker. It's not that team anymore. They've definitely decreased from that point.
The only teams I'm concerned about are obviously A, Michigan State, B, Michigan. Those are undoubtedly probably the best two teams in the Big Ten, and they're going to be for a while. So
Purdue is up there too.
I forget about Purdue every year
because they're awful at football, but they're somehow magically good at basketball.
Maryland also produces semi-competitive teams as well. Penn State's looking better.
Penn State is looking really good. That's kind of scary. But I will say Purdue, Matt Painter. That's why he's a good recruiter. He knows X's and O's in basketball. He's got a good personality.
But see,
can't stand Purdue.
We just named off 6 teams right there, so there's no reason Illinois couldn't be the 7th.
Exactly.
There's no reason.
See, that's the thing. Is everybody names off these 6 teams that you hear about commonly in the Big Ten, and Illinois is always at the bottom besides Rutgers. And that's the thing, is that this year, I know that. I'm as a basketball fan, as a biased Illini fan, but this is coming from an unbiased opinion. Illinois is going to be in the middle of the pack. We're going to have a good season, and I feel like we're going to make a decent tournament run. Even then, we could probably potentially make a decent run in the Big Ten championship as well. So I'm excited for this season. It's the best season I feel like we're going to have in a long time. I just don't want to, overhype these young guys too much. But I know what they're capable of. We all know what they're capable of and what they're capable of doing. But moving on, I want to talk about the summer workouts, boys. They just ended yesterday. Everybody's going to get to go home, spend some time with their family for the next couple days, or next week or two, which is a good thing. They've been down here all summer. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to name off my top players, or top summer league guys, summer workout guys. Number 1 being DeMonte Williams. Last season, Tyson, that guy looked like he was about 180 pounds soaking wet. This year, I saw a video of him on Adam Fletcher's Twitter page. If you guys don't follow Adam Fletcher, make sure you do, because that is the strength and conditioning coach for the University of Illinois. He's squatting 405. That's unreal. For a guy last season, how me and you watched him play. He's physical. He's strong.
Especially for a basketball player.
405. He can move his feet, and he's athletic. If he can move his feet and be that athletic and squat 405 pounds, that's unreal. That's insane. That is why he's got my top summer workout spot for me. Hopefully this season he's going to take all of this energy that he's got in this leadership and turn it into a phenomenal season.
Real quick, I want to say this is surprising to me because I know a month ago you were grilling this guy for being so out of shape, and then I felt like he heard you and a lot of other people, and he went, all right, I'll take on the challenge, and he looks like a completely different human being. I mean, he went from a scrawny-looking high school kid to a grown man. In 5-6 weeks.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely kudos to him, and I'm definitely glad that he was able to go through this transformation, and that's definitely going to up his playing time if Underwood sees how much dedication he's putting into his game.
I'm glad you said transformation. I'm going to touch on this guy real quick, Georgie Bashin-Shavili. He got here. He was looking a little pudgy.
Looked like a marshmallow.
He was looking a little pudgy, a little slow, a little lethargic. Now he ain't looking a little pudgy, a little lethargic. He has got himself a decent six-pack. He's quick, he's fast, he's agile. Hopefully he will be able to translate his new body that he transformed with Fletch in the weight room and be able to put that on the floor and give us valuable minutes. I feel like he's going to. I feel like he's not going to be near as valuable as Io or Tevion or Alan Griffin.
Not yet.
I feel like he's going to give us decent minutes now that he's transformed his body.
Right.
We saw his high school highlight tape, and being the not in shape as he is now, he was still a presence. He still can block shots. He's still there, get you a couple points a game. So hopefully his transformation will translate onto the court. It gives him a little bit more speed, so he's not out there so clunky and heavy.
Which his highlight tapes that we saw from high school, that's all it was.
Right.
It was back to the basket.
It's
it was
him just being bigger than everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So now that he's still big, he's still got good size, but now he's got speed and he's got that agility that he can actually put to use on the court. Hopefully, he can actually make that translate.
Yeah, and Illinois they've been big on getting athletic big men. One of my favorite guys who graduated a few years ago in Nana Egwu. one of my top guys.
Nah.
You know? And we saw how he was able to transform himself. You know, from his freshman year to his senior year, he turned into a beast. He's all time in rebounds at Illinois, all time in offensive rebounds at Illinois. I'm still disappointed he couldn't quite make the NBA. Had a couple shots in summer league, but he's playing over in Europe. If he can maybe not get to the level of that Egwu was at, but if he can get close to that, I think that he'll be a great bench piece for this team. Especially, you know, and it all comes down to, like, how can you figure out this rotation with so many good, you know, potentially great young guys on this roster, and you know you have to trim it down to an 8-9 man rotation when really you got a dozen guys that are deserving of playing time, you know. But one guy that I want to touch on that I know Cale, he didn't have on his list, but he's still one of my favorite guys because he's a dog on the court, and that's Aaron Jordan. This guy's an animal. I still feel like you need to play him a few minutes a game. He kind of reminds me of, not to the level of that Draymond Green was at Michigan State, but kind of the same mentality that he has in the NBA right now.
Kicking people in the nuts.
Not that far, but but yeah, I definitely see him as an enforcer, and if he can get some playing time, I would stick him on the other team's best player just to get under his skin, just for a few plays. And if it's not working, go ahead and take him out. But he's definitely an energetic guy. I know he's not the best defender, but he's kind of like that Draymond Green, Lance Stevenson kind of, you know, not to the level that they take it to, but kind of that player. So I think if Underwood wants to use him and utilize his abilities, I think that could be kind of a secret weapon that they use throughout the year. I'd like to see him get some more time.
Underwood's got hundreds of secret weapons right now. He's got secret weapons coming out of his ears. So the last guy, though, with Aaron Jordan, yeah, Gavin, I'm not a big Jordan fan, but you know that's just me. We're just going to leave that alone. I've got my guys. You've got yours. Tyson, Trent Frazier. You seen his vertical? He's up 42 inches is his vertical now.
Which is increased from like 28 inches last year or something like that. That's a big change.
He's right now, with his vertical and his height, he's jumping 11 foot 5 inches. That he's getting his elbow clean above the rim to where he will be able to, we'll be able to throw it down.
I was getting his forehead's touching the rim at that point. Yeah.
So therefore, 11 foot 5 inch vertical, Tyson. Is he going to be able to have enough confidence to go into the paint in the Big Ten and throw it down?
Not only can he throw it down, but he can throw it down over somebody now. We saw a couple videos. I think Fletch posted one of him dunking on, I want to say it was Georgie B.
It was.
Yeah. If he can go up there at he's 6'2"?
Yeah.
And go and dunk over 6'9" Georgie B. You got to, that already shows that confidence. Now that might be him showing a little bit, hey, freshman, get up out my way. I'm here to rule.
Says the sophomore.
Right. He's out here asserting his dominance, and I think that shows he's already got that confidence, and I think he can take that very well and translate it into Big Ten play. That confidence comes along with the leadership he's built. That's my big thing for the summer workouts so far. He transformed what he couldn't do, and he made it a strong suit. But the big thing for me goes back to that leadership, and that was a big part of the summer workouts for me. We saw it, and we've seen him kind of come to life, and not just sit back and shoot threes and score all kinds of points, but he's really developed every aspect of his game now. So I think he takes that leadership and he takes that confidence, and he's going to run all over the Big Ten this year.
That's one thing that I want to touch on real quick, is that we talked about him being a sophomore, and he is taking on that leadership role, showing the freshmen that he wants to step up. The question I have is, how comfortable are guys like Kipper Nichols and DeMonte Williams with handing it over to a sophomore? You got a fifth-year senior and then junior. Are they going to hand that over to a sophomore and say, lead us? You know? So, I mean, I want to see it. You know, you can say it all you want, and you can say it in interviews, yes, I'm comfortable with it, but I need to see it on the court, you know.
You saw it last year. Frazier was a freshman, and he was leading this team by midway through the season.
Right, but there would be some games where he would get overshadowed. I want to see him front and center every time. This is the guy that's going to take you the distance. I need to see that consistently.
Okay, I agree with that. All right, yeah, but Frazier is going to be that guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and throw that out the window because, Gav, I'm going to be real honest with you. This is Frazier's team. Underwood has built this team for Trent Frazier. Trent Frazier is your staple and your guy.
No doubt. I don't doubt that Underwood's done the right thing. I don't doubt that Frazier's done the right thing. I just need to see the upperclassmen, as much as they can say they're on board with it, I need to see physical proof every time that they are on board with this and that they are okay with being led by a 19, 20-year-old the entire way. I need to see it.
All right, for sure. I see what you're getting at now. Sorry, I was going over the top.
That's okay.
It's only 8:30 in the morning or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm tired, boys. All right, so there's one last thing I'm going to touch on for Illini basketball. It's going to be pretty quick. Then we're going to get into some Illini football. It's going to be even faster because, well, we all know that we just want 2019 to get here already.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to another year. Not yet.
Samba Kane, boys. Samba Kane is not on campus yet. He missed the entire summer due to a transfer issue from his old school he was at, and I do not know the name of it, so do not grill me in the comments, Jake Stevenson. Guys, I got a question for you. With Samba Kane, obviously, we're not sure. We don't know. We can't say that this is true. But obviously this has to be a classroom issue. You can say he doesn't have enough transfer credits, obviously, because he can't get to the U of I, or he has a class that's not transferable that he has to take another. He's not getting it done, essentially, is what I'm seeing. So how is that going to play into effect if Samba Kane, who we need, honestly, to be down low, cannot get here by time Big Ten season starts? His scholarship will be gone if that's the case. But there's no question we need him. So that being said, Tyson, what do you think about the Samba Kane situation? What do you think's going on?
If it's a transfer issue, so he's not allowed to be on campus yet. That really, in my mind, only spells out one thing, and you said it's a classroom issue. Whether it is one of his grades didn't come through correctly, he doesn't have a high enough GPA, or whatever it could be, he didn't take the right classes and he needs 2 years of foreign language and he only took one, whatever it is, it could either be really bad, meaning he took 2 years of math instead of 3, or whatever, or he took one, or he could have completely failed something that he really need. It could either be really good or really bad. Well, not really good, but it could be minor or major, I guess.
Best of a bad situation.
Right. Now we're just speculating. We don't know any of what's going on with that. But hopefully this isn't a himself in the classroom issue. Hopefully it's not like a GPA issue or something like that. Because if he can't cut it in high school, I guarantee he's not going to be able to hang around with college level courses. I was going to make a joke and say, haven't you ever seen movies about college? They get the nerds to do the stuff for him anyway, so he wouldn't have to worry about it. But this is a little bit more serious. He had to sit out the whole summer because of this. So obviously it's something, I don't want to say it's major yet, but it's definitely keeping him off the court, away from his teammates, not being able to build that chemistry and build his body like we saw some of these other guys do. So he's going to have a major catch-up to do.
Well, and it could be something as silly as something went wrong with the transcript itself.
Right.
And they're trying to figure out or get things straight, get things in order so that he can come on campus. And maybe they did figure it out, and maybe he's just waiting for the school to actually start here in about 3 weeks. So it's like this has been one of the strangest things all summer when it comes to Illinois basketball is where is Kane? Why is he not here yet? So I don't know. I know little to nothing about the situation. And whatever it is, he needs to get it figured out quick. Like everything Tyson said, you need to get on the court. You need to get in the gym. You need to practice. You need to get with Fletch and get ready. Season starts in, November? So we've got 3 months to go. You need to get ready. He needs to be here. And honestly, I just hope he gets it figured out soon because this is a guy that all three of us are really high on. And like Cale said, they need him. They need him more than anyone.
We'll just have to see what happens. Classes start on the 20th. Hopefully we can have him on campus before the fall semester starts. But if we can't, we're just going to have to figure out what we're going to do when that time comes. All right, boys.
Georgie B, some playing time just opened up.
Yes. All right, so I said it before. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it 3,000 times. We just want 2019 to get here. So what we're going to do real quick is we're going to run through the schedule for the Illini football team for 2018, and we're just going to say win or loss is what we're going to do and how we think we're going to be able to beat them. Before we start off, I'm going to start off with a couple things. Casey Washington and Seth Coleman. 2 more recruits for 2019. Casey Washington, he is 6'2", 175 pounds. He's a wide receiver. Big hands. He can jump. That's what we need. We got a decent wide receiver out of that. Coleman coming out of Holy Trinity Episcopal. I don't know how to say that word.
Episcopal.
Thank you.
Episcopal.
Something like that. It's a parochial school, so obviously they have good football teams. He's a wideout, so hopefully he can play multiple positions. He can run. He's quick. He can jump. He's tall. He's got a big frame. That's what we need. Illinois is all about big frames right now. But moving off of that, Maurice Massey's supposed to commit today. We've had our eyes on him. At least Jake and I have, and I know Gavin Tyson have as well. But Jake and I mainly, we've had our eyes on him all summer to see where he's going to go. He's narrowed it down to the Missouri and Illinois bragging rights teams. We don't want to see him go to Missouri. I'll tell you that right now. I want to see him come to Illinois, but whatever he does, we'll figure that out about 4 o'clock this afternoon. But let's go ahead, guys. Let's move into the 2018 season. September 1st, we're kicking off. We're less than, 27 days out now. So Kent State at home. Win or loss, Tyson?
Win.
Well, I will be attending this game, so it'll be one of the few games that we do win this year. So,
for sure. I feel like they're going to win as well. Kent State, small, it's mid-major, and I feel like Illinois should hopefully be able to.
Well, no disrespect to them, but we usually win out-of-conference games.
Not only that, they're a mid-major, we're a Power 5.
Right.
You got to think about that. We're a Power 5 school, they're a mid-major. Same with Western Illinois.
Well, we've also lost to them before.
Right.
So
you also see we're trending in the last few years that we schedule our easiest 2 teams the first 2 games of the season, and we'll win 1 or 2 and go defeated for the rest of the. So I'm pretty confident the last 2 years we won 2 games and beat the first 2 teams. So I see that trend continuing. Maybe not all of the trend going defeated the rest of the year, but I definitely see them winning this first one.
That second team of the year that we should be able to beat is another mid-major, Western Illinois University, the Leathernecks. So
is the Bulldogs?
They're the Leathernecks.
Oh, they
Western
are?
Illinois University is. The only college campus team named after a nickname of the military branches, which is the Marine Force or the Marine Corps. They're the Leathernecks, I believe. But anyway, we should be able to win that game. There should be no reason why we should lose. Obviously, that's a win for me, Gav.
I didn't know Western Illinois existed till today, so I'm going to go ahead and say win.
Ouch.
Western Illinois actually beat ISU twice last year, who was the favorite for the Missouri Valley Conference to go to the NCAA Division 1A tournament bracket for the playoffs last year. Western Illinois beat them twice, once in the playoffs. And I believe they actually won their first 3 matchups in the playoffs for the 1A tournament. Western's actually got a really decent team. Now, I don't know how many guys they lost and how many recruits they got this year, but based on what they did last year, Western has a really good team, especially taking down the guys over at ISU. ISU has had a good team for the last several years. Coach Spack over there doing an excellent job.
They're better than Illinois, though.
Right now, yeah.
Right now,
Illinois State, potentially.
We saw Eastern smack the basketball team last year. I'm gonna actually say loss on this one. I've got Western beating the U.
Can't even give us 2
I have
wins,
a
man.
really hard time saying
2
that.
wins?
I didn't say you weren't getting 2 wins.
Well, who the hell else we gonna beat,
I'm just
Tyson?
saying I got. I think
All right.
I think Western will kind of ride it from last year, and I can see them putting up a really good fight.
All right.
I didn't really know. I'm not gonna lie to you, Tyson. You went to Illinois State for a year.
Yep.
So
Year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah,
Whatever.
don't discredit the man.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to respect you like that. But you were there, so obviously you're gonna follow ISU, a little bit. That's how they're gonna do. And I did not know that Western Illinois was that good. I knew ISU was good from everything that I've heard from you. But hopefully we can squeak out a win. Like I said, we're Power 5. And they're not, obviously. Hopefully we can get a W. 9/15.
God, I hope so.
September 15th, easy Gav. The September 15th, we got USF, University of Southern Florida.
Yeah.
So
Played them last year, and that's going to be another fat L for Illinois.
Yeah, they got smacked last year. I'm going to take the L on this one, too.
we have a 49% chance of winning this game.
It's not 51.
It's not 51. It's 49. But I'm gonna take that 49%. I'm gonna take the under on that, and I'm gonna go ahead or take the over on that. Excuse me. And I'm gonna go ahead and say Illinois can't beat these guys because they lost a lot of their key players as well.
I've just now looked. This game is at Soldier Field. I tell you what, coming all the way up from Florida, I'll go ahead and take the win on that. I'll go change it.
All right, boys. Now we're getting into Big Ten play. September 21st. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna run through these because we got it in front of us. September 21st, we got Penn State at home. October 6th, we got Rutgers out there at Rutgers. 13th, we got Purdue at home. The 20th of October, we got Wisconsin at Wisconsin. That's going to be hard.
Yep.
The 27th of October, Maryland out at Maryland. That's going to be another tough game. Maryland's halfway decent. At least they're better than us, I should say. Minnesota on the November 3rd, we got them at home. Nebraska out there. Nebraska on the 10th. 17th, we have Iowa at home. Another tough opponent in the Big Ten. And then on the 24th of November, we have Northwestern up at Northwestern. Tyson, I'm gonna get your thoughts real quick. Just kind of sum up the Big Ten play for the University of Illinois this year.
So we play several really good teams: Penn State, Wisconsin, Iowa, Northwestern. I'm gonna take the loss on all four of the above. I think those are given. With the team we've got this year, not saying it's an awful team, not saying these guys don't have talent here at the U of I, but those are four teams that have been building these programs for a very long time. They've been there and they stayed there. Now, Nebraska's got a new coach. I think we've got a shot against them, but I'm still taking the L on Nebraska towards the end of the season. My three favorite, Maryland, I'm going to take the loss as well. I think Maryland just puts together a better team. They're usually a run-of-the-mill, middle-of-the-pack kind of team, so I'll take Maryland as well. But of the remaining games, we've got Rutgers, Purdue, and Minnesota. All three very, very winnable games. They were towards the bottom of the Big Ten last year with us. I'm actually going to take the win over Rutgers and Purdue. I'm going to give them 2 consecutive wins. Purdue at home is big.
Yes,
when we play at Purdue, we don't play very well. But Purdue at home, I think we can avoid that 30-point beat down again, and I think we can take that.
Well, and you usually get a pretty good game whenever Purdue comes to Illinois.
Right.
Whether we lose or we win, it's always close, usually within 10 points. I've gone to a couple of those there in the past. Overall, I mean, we could probably win 2 out of these 8 Big Ten games, or 7 Big Ten games, excuse me. I've got them winning at Rutgers and Purdue as well, but everything else, even Minnesota, it's not looking very good for me.
It is at home, so that's another bonus. But
it does help.
I'm taking the L on Minnesota.
It does help, but Minnesota is just, I think they're a superior football team to us at this point. So overall, yeah, I'll give them Kent State the win. I'll give them Western Illinois the win. South Florida the win, Rutgers the win, Purdue the win. If we can get 5 wins, we're looking at 5-7. That's the best season we've had in a while. So I'll definitely be happy with that.
Did you see the new building that Minnesota built? The new practice facility.
It's insane.
Yeah, there's a lot of money went into that. I think that really helps the Minnesota team this year. So that's the main reason I'm giving them the win, just because that building is beautiful.
Row the boat too. I mean, their confidence. They're coming in high on themselves as well. You know, we're talking about that a lot. Minnesota's not going to be the same team that we've seen in the last couple of years. So, real quick, guys, I saw something on Twitter this morning. I retweeted it on my Twitter page. Illinois is one of the leaders in Hall of Famers by college. So I'm going to run through these real quick. Notre Dame in totals had 13. USC's had 12. Ohio State's had 10. Alabama's had 8. Michigan's had 8. The University of Pittsburgh's had 8. Syracuse has had 8. Minnesota's had 7. University of Miami's had 7. Illinois has had 6. Oregon, has had 6. Penn State's had 6. UCLA's had 6. So I'm gonna tell you right there, how many of them guys are the leaders? Are all most of them are the Big Ten. So that tells you the talent that comes out of the Big Ten football conference. But going off of Illinois, I want to tell you the 2 leaders, the 2 headlines that we've got. Number 1, being the class of 79, Dick Butkus. Number 2, class of 78, Ray Nitschke. Those are some of the 2 best linebackers I've ever played.
Those are the only 2 guys that I could have told you were in
Well,
Hall of Fame.
Red Grange is 63.
Oh, Grange,
Red
of course.
Grange.
Yeah, right.
And then you got George Hallis is 63 as well. So we had 2 Hall of Famers in the class of 63. With
I
Red
tell you
Grange
what, I've
and
been a
George
Bears
Hallis.
fan my entire life. I had no idea George Hallis went to the University of Illinois.
The last one, class of 83, was Bobby Mitchell.
Okay.
So, but the 2 headliners are obviously Butkus, Nitschke, and then as a close third, in my opinion, would be Red Grange. So,
Oh, I don't know. George Hallis was pretty good, man.
Hallis was a great football player in his day.
Absolutely
Yeah.
great.
but
That's 4 big name, huge guys though in that Hall of Fame coming from the U of I.
you got to think U of I was linebacker U back in the day.
Yep.
So we've produced some of the best linebackers in the sport of football. So
And 2 of them played for the Bears. How about
exactly. All right, guys. I just kind of wanted to run through that. It's kind of interesting. I saw it this morning. I thought that was kind of cool.
that? Absolutely, yeah.
Sticking with the Big Ten, there is an arising issue. We're going to spend too much time on this,
But it needs to be
it needs to be
talked about,
discussed
yeah.
because it is Big Ten. It's close to home. There's probably a few Ohio State fans in Champaign, Illinois.
I know a
Champaign,
couple.
Urbana. So there's quite a few of them.
Shout out Britt Dog.
Yeah, we know you. We know you.
Urban Meyer, boys, is in a lot of hot water. I feel like he rightfully should be. A lot of people don't. This also coming as an Illinois fan, and I want to see Urban Meyer get shit or get fired. So sorry about that.
We'll bleep that out.
But Urban Meyer, there's been an issue with one of his wide receiver coaches, Zach Smith. Domestic abuse case against his wife and Courtney Smith, ex-wife Courtney Smith. Courtney Smith apparently reached out to Shelley Meyer, who is Urban's wife and also a professor at at Ohio State in nursing. The wife, or Shelley Meyer, supposedly said she was going to have to tell Urban, but Urban Meyer at the Big Ten Media Days claimed that he did not know anything about it. So that being said, Urban Meyer lied. I feel like how do you not know something about this?
Well, that was after.
Or she didn't ever say anything to him,
That's
which
the
we
other
don't
thing.
know.
We don't know
how that went through either.
I would have believed that if I didn't hear his interview at Big Ten Media Day, where he
Right.
says how close he was with his wife. They talk about everything. They talk every day, every morning, every night. They call each other. That I can't believe that didn't come up in conversation. If she knew what was going on, why would you not tell her?
There was also a report released yesterday too that she was not the only wife of the coaching staff that knew that Courtney Smith told all of the rest of the coaches' wives about this as well.
She also talked to school administrators' wives as well, was included in that report. So not only did she talk to all the coaches' wives, but the administrators' wives as well.
So this situation's awful. Domestic abuse is absolutely ridiculous. I cannot stand guys who beat up their women like this.
He's a dirtbag.
He's a dirtbag.
Yeah.
He's a scumbag. It's sad. I cannot stand guys like that. But that being said,
Real quick, I want you to touch on what we're talking about before we start today's show. When you work at a university like that and you pick up on information, especially information that has to deal with domestic violence, you are a mandated reporter.
yes,
Yeah.
And you are required to report
By
things like
law, to report to the appropriate authorities, whether that's the police, whether that's the administration,
Yep.
whether
Somebody.
that is somebody. You have no way around it. You have to report that.
Ohio State, not we, because I'm an Illini fan. Excuse me. Ohio State has multiple employees that have violated Title IX policies. Not only have they violated Title IX policies, they've violated the mandating reporting policies. Ohio State, they're in a big mess right now, and I don't see themselves getting out of it. But this also isn't the first mess they've had, because in 2007 we had the whole tattoo memorabilia scandal. 2007 I was still really wasn't watching football all that much. But I'm going to go ahead and lead with this, guys. What does this mean for Ohio State? What do you do with Urban Meyer? Well, this whole situation is not pointing in the favor of Ohio State, and it shouldn't. Ohio State should have done something.
If
about
you're
it if they knew.
listen, if you're anyone else besides Ohio State, he's gone. Urban Meyer's gone. Okay, or maybe if you're Alabama, if it's Nick Saban, he's probably staying too. But
And just so you know, he has been placed on administrative leave.
Yeah,
he
he's
will more
suspended.
than likely not be coaching week 1.
Paid
he's-
administrative leave.
yeah, he's suspended right now. But if you're anyone else besides maybe Alabama, he's gone. Okay, this is something that you can't like. It comes down to, can people actually buy what you're selling? I ain't buying it. I can't. I'm obviously biased because I wasn't there. I don't know the facts, but from what I've heard from people that have been reporting on this, from articles that I've read, there's no way you didn't know. You knew exactly what was going on, and you chose to not say anything at all. And when you sit on information like that, when somebody is asking for help, not physically asking for help, but showing the signs of they're in a struggle, they're in pain, they need someone to help them, and you're sitting on that, you can't be a bystander. You have to do something. And he knew about it. He didn't do anything. He's gonna stay suspended, like Cale said. He's not going to coach week 1. It's not going to happen. He might not coach the rest of the year.
He might not coach
ever again at Ohio State, because Tyson touched on this. He might get a job somewhere else.
If Ohio State fires him, someone will hire him.
They'll
100%.
They'll pull the trigger on that.
He is one of the greatest coaches of all time in the college game, just based off win-loss record. He's like 180-37.
And real quick, I don't want to say it's not his fault, because he's not the one that committed this act. Right. But the fact that he knew about it and didn't say anything is bad enough.
That's the issue in itself, is that he knew about it and he didn't do anything.
The problem for me, I think he was in between a rock and a hard place here. And I'm kind of in the same spot with this argument. I really don't agree with what happened. I hate even more that he lied about it. But there were several police calls. They responded to the house where this happened several times, and there was never a police report filed. In the article I read as well, all the police will tell you that they showed up and nothing happened every time. They've got the police side of the story from every incident they were ever called on, and it was almost always false or nothing happened. So that being said, people were told, things were done about it, but she never went through and filed a report. She never, until recently when she got the restraining order, he can't be with him. So really, I don't know if there was anything else that he could have done besides maybe going to the administration and saying, hey, we need to fire this guy. But that being said, the administration knew about it as well. She said that she had talked to the administrators' wives too. So I don't know how you can put all the blame on Urban Meyer. I think Urban Meyer is a great coach, and I think he's an even better human being. I think this guy, he's outstanding. Yeah, you can see it in his care for the people around him, his players, his wife.
I agree with 100% of what you just said, and that just reminded me that if you don't know, everyone that watches college sports should know that the NCAA has been messed up for a long time.
Yeah.
And I really like where you went with that, in that it's on the administrators, that they should have told somebody. And you're exactly right. We can't put all the blame on the coach, but
I think you can put some.
Oh yeah, you can definitely put some, but no, it's not entirely his fault.
This was the university's problem.
He didn't commit the act, and he's not the only employee.
My only problem with Urban Meyer is he lied about it on media day.
That's
it.
That's what it was. Did you know about it? No. That's where he messed up.
Yep.
That's where he messed up, and that's where you have to leave it at. Now,
but it's very hard to respond yes to that question. It's a very serious problem.
Who would have? That's. I think that's what it comes down to. Do I think he should be fired? No. But if honestly, if they wanted to go as far as suspend him for the entire year and let Ohio State suck first season, you know what? Bring him back next year and be like, look, we know what you did. If you do it again, we're going to can you. Right. And I think that would be enough. But
this will come down to Ohio State, whether they decide to try and save face or not, if they try and pass the blame on to somebody. Because Urban Meyer's the clear target for them to be able to pass it on to. So I think it just depends on whether or not how much they try to save face.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what happens in the next few days. But yeah, this is definitely terrible. You don't ever want to see this happen with anyone. And it's sad because it happens in the NFL more often than not, and to see it happen at the college level, with coaches, it's even worse. We never like to see that kind of thing. But I think that's all we have for today. We'll go ahead and leave you with that. If anything else surfaces with that story, we'll definitely report it on Monday. But with that said, that's all we got today. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Talked about Illinois basketball, Illinois football. We're looking forward to next year. We really don't want to talk about this.
Can't wait for 2019.
Yeah. With that said, that's what we had for you today. Go ahead and leave us a comment down below. Leave us a rating, thumbs up, subscribe so you don't miss a beat. Hit that bell icon so you can turn on notifications. Other than that, my name is Gavin Campbell. That was Tyson Snyder, Cale Fleming. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.
Based upon the view, you can't have too much trouble, so why can't we do it? Everybody's doing it. Let's strike the fireworks, stand back and enjoy it. Oh, bombs hooray, damn the consequences.